No matter where you are in the world, CSL Dallas is here as your spiritual home. As a reminder, every day is a day for transformation, spiritual deepening, and heart connection, no matter what's going on. Every day we learn and practice something important that makes a difference. Get ready to dance all this month as we are bringing rhythm and soul to September. So let's get ready for today's celebration by putting your hands together for the CSL Dallas music team.
CSL Dallas music team. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How are y'all feeling today? Great. Good. I'm feeling like a Superman today. Thank you. Now that I've subjected you to a bad pun, I'll start the announcements. I'm Bakari Issa. I'll be your platform assistant for today. And let's begin. Let's begin by reading our purpose statement together. Together, we are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, transforming lives. And so it is. Thank you. Do you want to learn the 7 spiritual laws of success? Deepak Chopra is a revered spiritual teacher who has guided thousands of people towards a deeper understanding of the nature of reality. In our upcoming course, based on his book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, you'll not only explore each one of the laws, but also practice incorporating them into your daily life. How exciting is that, y'all? Yes. Through engaging in interactive exercises, this is a perfect opportunity to delve into the fundamental principles of the universe and cultivate a deeper connection with your inner self. Our next announcement will be starting on Tuesday, October 17th, join practitioner Carol Merlot from 7 to 9:30 p.m. online. Oh. You can learn more and register at csldallas.org/education. We have more. Gain Self-Mastery with Dr. Tracy Brown, also in October. Her course titled Self-Mastery offers spiritual tools to bridge the gap between your inner self and outer reality through the practice of intentional living. Again, for all course information and to sign up, visit csldallas.org/education. Mondays at CSL Dallas are where you want to be. Mark your calendars for the Qigong every Monday during the month of October with our certified instructor, Michaelin Cole. All levels are welcome. Learn more at csldallas.org/events. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you've been connected for years, welcome. However you found us today, in person or online, we'd love to stay in touch with you. Excuse me as I turn the page, guys. Stay in the know by following us on social media, leave us a Google review, and sign up for our weekly newsletter and inspirational text by filling out the Connect card from the link in the chat online or at the welcome table on campus. Stay connected to all that's happening at CSL Dallas. I don't have the form, guys. Now let's settle into this morning with our music team, Candy, Deidre, Shar, and Ball, and center with our practitioner, Carol Merlot, as we go within.
May I hear your song, glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song. Glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song. Glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. May I hear your song. Glimpse the divine. May my heart know your word and my tongue sing your name forever and ever I pray. Holy, so holy, I surrender to your sacred ways.
Good morning. Let's go within together. Feeling into this idea, this experience, this knowingness of the song of the divine. Opening our inner ear. What is it saying? What is it singing? What is it sharing? Singing into your heart, into your mind, into every step you take today. As you breathe, feel into this breathing of the song of the divine filling you and allowing this surrender into the greater love, the greater good, the greater joy that each of us has at our core. And then notice that every single person in this room also has this divine song within them, sharing it to open, receive, and share growing this greater love in our community, in our families, in our culture, and on this planet. And knowing that this is the why, this is the goodness, this is the purpose. This is it. And knowing this to be true, we affirm it together by saying, and so it is.
To your sacred way. That's Brad. That's Jonathan. That's Matt. And this is Shar. Thank you. Since the day we arrived on this planet and blinking step into the sun, there is more to be seen than can never be seen, more to do than can never be done. There is far too much to take in here, more to find than can never be found. But with the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky, each great and small on the endless round, it's the circle of life. And it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and love, till we find our place on the path unwinding, in the circle of life. Some of us fall by the wayside, and some soar to the stars. Some of us sail through our troubles, and some have to live with the scars. There's far too much to take in here, more to find that can never be found. But with the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky, each great and small on the endless round, it's the circle of life. And it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and love, till we find our place on the path unwinding, in the circle of life. And it moves us all through despair and hope, through faith and love, till we find our place on the path unwinding, in the circle of life. Thank you. Thank you all.
Yay. Thank you so much, Charlotte, Brad, Jonathan, and Matt. Thank you so much. The Circle of Life, right? And what a beautiful song that really helps us feel that song of life, right? And so we're closing out our Doobie 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 Doo month as we have been exploring this dance of doing and being. And and so we've done some pretty theoretical things. We've talked about the nature of reality. We've explored paradoxes. And we've been making our way to, well, how do we dance in that song of life? What is this now for us? So how do we live it, be it, and embrace it in our own personal lives? And how do we sing that song that is ours to sing? Ours to sing. Right? We talked about how there's an absolute infinite reality. It has an impress. There's an infinite law that brings that all together. But ultimately, in our own personal lives and the ways in which we contribute is ours to write. It's our song that we are singing, choosing to sing, withholding, singing really quietly so nobody can hear it and having a judgment about it, or singing out loud, right, as beautiful Charlotte just sang to us that gorgeous song. So since we've been playing with Doobie 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 Doo and we're singing now, right, we want to stop and think about, take a moment to think about music itself. Those of you who are musicians, you will recognize this, right? This is a bit of music. All of you go, if you're not a musician or if you don't play an instrument, go back to, what was that, 4th grade, where you were first time in choir, the first time you were introduced to notes and things like that, right? So when you think about a song and somebody's going to write a song or you're going to play a song on an instrument, all of these things are playing in harmony with each other. So first, right, you've got the staff on which the notes are written. And if you recall that there's the treble clef and the bass clef, those are those funny symbols all the way there on the edge of the music. And it tells you sort of what range, basically on the piano, what range these notes are in. So you have your treble clef and your bass clef. And then you have, right beside that treble clef on the top, you have that funny little symbol right over here, that funny little symbol. If you don't recognize it or remember it, that's actually a rest in a piece of music. That tells you at that moment there's not supposed to be sound coming from that particular part of the music. Sometimes that rest goes all the way through, and there's a moment of silence. Rests can have the same value as notes. They can be eighth note, eighth, quarter, half, or whole rests, which tells you how long that rest is. And of course, we have notes, right? So you see all those little black dots with their little lines on it. Those are notes, and they have different values. So you have a note with a little flag on it, it's a quarter, or it's an eighth, and then you have quarter notes and half notes. You have a whole note, which is a circle, and then you have a whole note, which is a circle with a dot behind it, which says sing it, hold that note until you don't feel like holding it anymore, right? It's no particular beat to it. So the notes not only tell you what to sing, but they tell you the rhythm in which that is to be sung. But on top of that, so we have the clefs, we have the rests that tell us when there's sound and when there's not. We have the notes that give us the rhythm. And then we have dynamic markings. Dynamic markings, which also tells us whether it's being done softly, medium, softly, a little soft, medium soft, not so soft, and then all the way up to forte, which is loud. All of that. Oh, and then the last thing we have is we have genre. Country western, R&B, reggae, pop, hip hop, rap, all of which gives us a whole nother framework for how this piece of music is to be played. And if some people love playing with it. They'll actually take one piece of music out of one genre and play it in an entirely different genre, give it an entirely different feel. Who cares, right? Like, wait, I didn't come this morning to be in music class. How many possible combinations do you think there are of all of these variables? An infinite number. An infinite number. And somebody decides to write it, and somebody decides to sing it, and somebody decides to play it. And they're all slightly different versions of one of the infinite ways that a piece of music can be written. Each one capturing a song of life. From Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star to The Circle of Life to some ridiculously complicated classical piece of music, and everything in between. What if we decided that it was okay that we were writing our own piece of music? That our life was, in fact, our own song. And that we were the musician, the lyricist, the writer, the conductor. That we were picking the genre, and we were picking the dynamics, all of that. Because the truth is, we actually are doing that. One of the deepest paradoxes that we confront over and over and over and over again in spirituality is we are looking for the right answer. And we are looking for the path. Could somebody please tell me where it is? I'll go on it. And could you make sure, please tell me which is the right one. Tell me which is the right path. Assure me that it will be successful. Man, I'll give it all I got. And what is the universe asking? Which path do you pick? Which song do you want to sing? Which song do you want to write? And it requires all of these things, right? And if we think of our treble and bass clef, we talked about spirit human last week, if you will remember. We talked about spirit human. Are the notes that we're singing about in this particular piece of music, are we making sure we're writing notes on both staffs? Are we only playing on one? Or have we given ourselves permission? I'm going to spend a little time just playing on the spirit staff. Oh, now I'm going to go on vacation and I'm going to play on the human side of things. Sometimes it's very staccato and it's got a lot of notes and there's a lot of things we're doing because, by God, we've decided to move forward in our life in something. Or we've had a lot of stuff going on and it's just going on. And, you know, you think about some of those really staccato pieces of music. Boom, 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 boom. Could we have a rest in there somewhere, please? But part of what we get to remember is that we're writing the music. We're writing the music. So we pencil in a rest, or 2, or 3, or 5, because it's our piece. And I know for myself, sometimes I forget about the little rest notes, because I have things to do, and I'm busy, and I'm manifesting, and I'm living the life of my dreams, and I'm going for it all. Ooh, man. Okay, need a little rest again in there. Because the song has flow, ebb and flow and movement. Do you see? It's a lovely metaphor, I think, at this point in this moment of being and doing. If we can think of our being and doing, we've been using the metaphor dance, but dance is built on the music. And it is the way the music plays, the way that it that informs the way the dance moves. So as we think about our life this way, we're thinking about this idea that in our piece of music, we have these two staffs, which are very similar to all those beautiful charts I showed you last week, right? The absolute and the relative, the human and the divine or spiritual aspects. And so bear with me here for a minute. I'm going to tell you a story from my ministerial training. And for those of you who are nerds like me, I actually encourage you to do this. So one of the assignments in one of my classes when I was in ministerial training was to take our Science of Mind and go to the introduction. For those of you who are familiar with the book, which we do working on every Sunday morning in class, there are 4 introductory chapters. If you want a good introduction to all of the stuff that we've been talking about this month, read those 4 chapters. If you haven't read them in a while, go back and reread them. Now, here's the assignment. Dr. Glenn Wood said to all of us, he said, okay, I want you to read the chapter, and I want you to underline every time you see the word conceive, or some derivative thereof, and every time you see the word perceive, and some derivative thereof. And we all kind of scratched our heads and said, okay, because it was an assignment, right? So we all went home, dutifully underlined all those words. Yeah. If you are a nerd like me, I want you to go do this with your Science of Mind book. So, conceive. What does it mean to conceive? Well, we certainly have the conceiving of a child, right? But from a metaphysical point of view, not dissimilar, conceiving starts with a seed, with an idea, conception, to have a concept of something, to conceive of something. And when we conceive of something, we have an idea. Now, again, we want to be careful with our language that we don't get hooked on a semantic. An idea doesn't have to be, I am now visualizing my house. It could be that I have an idea of home. I could have a feeling of, wow, holidays, a place my family could come. Do you see, an idea isn't just, I'm now having an intellectual thought, right? Because we're all different. And our ideas are that sense that we have it, the feeling that it has, the image, the visualization, or the idea of it. All of that comes under the heading to conceive of something. To conceive that I could be happy. To conceive of a world that works for everyone. To conceive of to conceive of what it would look like, what it will look like when humanity awakens to its care of the planet. To conceive of it. Inner work. This is our inner work. When we say causal work, this is where the causal work is done. It's done within us. And everything about conceiving happens on the inside. And it isn't anything yet, is it? It's not anything yet. It lives in that no-thingness that we talked about last week. And then there is perceive, to perceive. Right? And we talk about our perception. Well, it's your perception. Well, it's your perception that I wasn't very nice. I think you should change your perception. Oh, wait, I'm perceiving that incorrectly. Oh, I'm perceiving you as a not very nice person. Okay, right? To perceive is to see something out there. our spiritual work is this extraordinary dance between these two things. To conceive that every person we are looking at, to conceive that we're all one, to conceive that everybody is a part of that oneness, even those people I don't want to sit down to have lunch with, and even those people that I don't want to read about in the newspapers, and even those people, and even, oh yeah, there's a lot of people that I would like to conceive aren't part of. But my spirituality says we're all a part of the whole. I can conceive of one human family, and then I walk out into the world. And I wonder how I'm perceiving it. Do you see? Now, if I'm truly conceiving that every person that I see, every person is a part of that one human family, the more that I can conceive that and embody that conception, not just as it's a nice idea, but fully conceive of it as what we would call a mental equivalent, do you see, it becomes something that I perceive behind the veil of the things I don't like or the things I have judgment about. Do you see? Our job is to perceive the truth, not just conceive of it. Did I say that in a way that made sense to you? Our job is to perceive the truth, not just conceive of it. We cannot perceive the truth if we haven't done the work to conceive it. If I can't actually have a conception that I live in an abundant universe, I will not perceive it when I'm struggling with something financial. But if we have fully embraced as the conception that we live in an abundant universe and we have begun to embody it, it begins to reveal itself and we perceive it despite some condition that tells us something different. Do you see? This is the dance. The dance between conception and perception. And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like a self-fulfilling loop. The more I'm conceiving of it, the more I'll perceive it. The more I'm willing to really perceive it, really see that it's there, perceive it out there in the world, the more it reinforces my conception. The more my conception is reinforced, the easier it is to perceive. The more that I perceive it, the deeper my embodiment of the conception becomes. Do you see? That's the dance. Now, for all of you philosophy nerds, this is the argument between Plato and Aristotle. This has been going on since Aristotle was Plato's student. And it is one of the big splits in Western philosophy. We have Plato, Plotinus, Spinoza, and a bunch of people on the one side. They also line up with the mystical tradition and religion. And then we have other people like Aristotle and Boethius and Locke and Hume and Skinner and those people, and it's all about perception, right? There's actually nothing out there. And we come perilously close in metaphysics and New Thought when we say, well, you know, I've attracted all of this for my learning, which robs you all of your essential reality. You're really just figments of my imagination, and you're here in this moment, online or in the room, so that I can have the experience I'm having. Yes? How many of us have heard something similar? Of course, I'm grossly exaggerating, but what happens is people don't understand how, if you push this too far, that's what you're saying. It is not only perception. It is also conception. But it's not only conceiving it. These are two sides of the whole. The conception is causal. The perception is when we actualize the truth that we believe. That's part of our song. We can't live only on one side or the other. We are constantly in the dance of these two things. We can't only wait to see how it feels. Do you see, when we wait to see how it feels, what we're basically looking for is for feedback. How am I perceiving this situation? But we can't always only just ram through our own idea about it without paying attention to what's going on with the people around us. This constant dance that we're engaged in could be one of the deepest paradoxes. And we separate these two things at our peril. And when we live exclusively on one side or another, our spirituality is not mature enough. So again, if you're a nerd like me, go to those first 4 chapters. Underline every time Ernest Holmes uses these 2 words, and then ponder the sentences or the paragraph in which you find these words. It is truly, truly an amazing spiritual exercise. So another way that we can think about this, and another way that we embody, and I think need to embrace these paradoxes of being and doing, is well, we're going to start out. Choosing. We talk about that all the time. Taking responsibility for our choices. What is your choice? Did you choose that? How did you choose that? What, right? How do you take responsibility for your choices? And choosing is, you go to the banquet table of life, and you say, I'm going to have the salmon. Or, I don't really like fish. I'm going to have the hamburger. The banquet of life does not tell you which one is better, which one is right. The banquet of life has no opinion about it. You can take one of everything if you choose. But you have to choose. You can't just sit there and say, okay, Spirit, lay it on me. That food will never hop off the table. I know. Because we want to know which one's the right one. We'd like for it to flash like in a little light, me, take me, I'm better, take me, I'm the one you should take. So we can abdicate all responsibility for our choices, right? We'll just let Spirit decide. Oh, wait, that's outside of me. Oh, wait. Now we're back in some old tradition. Choosing. We must choose. And we can choose the next possible step. We talked about this actually the last 2 Sunday morning classes. Or we can choose the outcome that we want to have. And when we choose, we are giving direction to the universal principle. We are saying, I am co-creating with that universal law these things, this life, this outcome, that business, this relationship, a deeper awareness of the divine presence, deeper spirituality, more love. Do you see? All of those things are choices. We're going, in this case, our beautiful image here, we're going to the library of life. All the shelves are there. All the books are there. Again, they are not going to leap off the shelf into our hands. We actually choose. And not choosing is also a choice. Right? Then we're stuck with whatever's playing out in the back over here, or we're stuck with what somebody else chooses. And it impacts us in some form or fashion. Every time we choose not to vote, we're choosing. Because it impacts us in some form or fashion, because we haven't stepped up to the plate to choose. And this is where we are empowered. Our spirituality is empowering, and it also requires responsibility, making choices. And a lot of times we are frustrated by making choices because we think, well, if I choose this, that means I can't have that. Yeah. Right. And you can have this and that, but you can't have this and that and that and that and that and that, right? Just let's go back to our banquet. I'm going to have the salmon and the roast beef and the chocolate and the pudding and the vegetables, and I'm going to have the dessert, and I'm going to have the chocolate fondue, and I'm going to have the chicken, and oh, I really love shrimp. And then what? Right? You're in the bathroom. You put a few things on your plate. Oh, come on. You heap your plate full. You eat what you like of it. And then if you're like me, you go, and then you go back and you choose those things you really liked. Right? Yeah. Because we are designed to choose. That is how we co-create. And that's how we stop having life happening to us by someone else's choices or our lack of choice. Choosing. Yeah. Scary, empowering. Is it the right choice? Who knows? I've gotten really good at, I'm getting books out of the library. I read the first four chapters, the first 4 pages, and I think, oh, God, it's going to be nothing but a drama. I give it right back. Do you know that 20 years ago, I would never have been able to do that? I would have felt duty-bound to read the whole damn thing. It was awful. Nope, I don't do it anymore. I chose it. I read a few pages. No. Or I've read so many versions of this story, I don't need to read it again. So I get to choose, and I get to choose again, and again, and again, and again. Right? Sometimes I'm choosing the same thing again and again and again and again. So I've been in ministry, and I've been in ministry here at CSL Dallas so long because I keep choosing it again and again and again and again. Our marriages, our work, our children. Sometimes. All right, the other side of that, right? The other side of it is we are constantly being told you have to allow it. You have to trust the process. Get out of the way. You have to allow things to move, right? And you have to be like, whee, not care where it lands. The problem is that we think of these things as mutually exclusive, rather than recognizing, again, that this is one of the paradoxes of life. This is a part of, as we are doing the be and do dance, right? The be is to be that which we choose, and the do is to allow ourselves to do what is laid out before us, to do what our intuition nudges, to do some things we're not even sure are going to work out or not, and test them out and see what happens and see if they're getting us closer to what we've chosen. Do you see? And so we choose, and then we allow the law to move us, to bring things to us as we are being brought to it. We test, we try, we practice, we see, and then we choose again. No, yes, this is actually, or, well, a little ways down the road, not so much. I think I'll make a different choice. And again, we insist, and I'm going to really make a bold statement here. If you are reading a book or listening to a guru or some spiritual teacher who tells you that there's only one way to do this, you either have to be constantly choosing all the time, or you constantly have to be allowing all the time, what that person is sharing with you is where they are on their spiritual journey, because it's not one or the other. It's the dance. And it's not really both of them simultaneously either, although it could be that way if you are working on more than one thing. But that's a tangent. We won't go there. Let's just pretend we're only working on one thing, right? We choose, and then we allow it to unfold. We allow the how to work from the law, and we keep allowing ourselves to be moved, and then we keep re-choosing. Yes, I'm choosing this again. Yes, I'm still choosing this, and I'm allowing. Yes, I'm still choosing, and I'm allowing. Or, wow, this isn't quite, no, I'm ending up someplace I didn't want. So I'm going to choose again, something maybe different, maybe slightly different. Maybe I have to choose not something outward, maybe not just choosing how to perceive it differently. Maybe I have to choose a different idea, a different mental equivalent, a different mental image. Maybe I stop choosing to say what's not working about something, which seemed like what was needed. Tell the truth, be willing to, get the guts to say what it is and trust the process, that all that. But then if it doesn't quite, then I choose, well, maybe I'm going to perceive it differently. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? This is part of the dance of our lives, and we tend to want to live on one side or the other, always choosing or always allowing. And yet our life is made up of being and doing, be, do, be, do, be, do, be, do, be, do, as this beautiful dance. And the more that we can listen to what's called for in the moment, right? That's where we listen to, have I not been intentional enough? So I've noticed over the last 10 years, I've gotten so good, so deeply good at trusting the organic unfolding process that there have been moments in my life where I realized I just had forgotten to be intentional. Maybe that's happened to you, right? So I forgot to choose something. That's also what choosing means, right? I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to be a little more intentional about whatever it is, my spiritual practice, or speaking the truth, or being more loving, or caring more about the environment, or whatever those things are. And then hear, how is that going to unfold and allow? So Ernest Holmes uses the terms, and these are my favorite terms for this. The first term is directive. So when we do our spiritual mind treatment, when we do our affirmations, when we do a vision board, when we pick something, when we set an intention, when we do all of those things, we are being directive. We are the directive power in the process, and we are directing the law in the direction that we want our lives to go in. And then we are receptive. Right? We are receptive to intuition. We're receptive to the ideas, the nudges. We're receptive to the way that it's unfolding, which might be different than the way it would have unfolded had we tried to figure it out, right? Or we're receptive to the feedback. It's not quite working the way I thought. Am I going to stay with this course, or am I going to change it? And so the directive and receptive, we're receptive in visioning, we're receptive in meditation, we're receptive when we're doing when we're listening to our intuition, we're receptive when we're working with our journals and we're listening to our own thoughts, we're receptive when we're being self-aware. These are all the ways in which we are being receptive so that we can then be directive again. In the dance. In the dance. So I want to read a quote, to close with a quote from Thomas Troward. For those of you who have not taken a class in the work of Thomas Troward, we teach two of them. And one of them is based on a series of lectures called the Edinburgh Lectures. He wrote in 1916, and utterly devoid of religious language. He talks about the nature of reality. And in talking about this directive and receptive dance, I'm going to read you the whole quote. You can read along on the slides because it is a little bit long. And those of you who have read Troward, you know it's always long. The one who realizes that by the natural law of mind, we can bring the universal mind into perfect reciprocal action with our own, will, on the one hand, make it a source of infinite instruction, and on the other hand, a source of infinite power. We will thus wisely alternate the personal and impersonal aspects respectively between our individual mind and the universal mind. So, when one is seeking for guidance or strength, I think this is the next one. When one is seeking for guidance or strength, We will regard our own mind as the impersonal element, which is to receive from the superior wisdom and force of the greater mind. And when, on the other hand, we are to give out the stores thus accumulated, we must reverse the position and consider our own mind as the personalizing element and the universal mind as the impersonal, which we can therefore direct with certainty by impressing our own personal desire upon it. This is the ultimate dance. It's not just our own dance of choosing and allowing, our own dance of directive and receptive, but this is the ultimate dance when we recognize that we are constantly dancing as the individualized expression with the universal. That when we are directing, we are in fact directing the universal law. And that when we are receptive, we are inviting that impress, that intuition to direct us. It requires both. Just like our music requires rests and notes. Our music requires the clefts that are needed, as well as the genre and the dynamics. All of it is needed. So we need to both be and do in a beautiful and joyous dance. And I think that makes an amazing song of life that each one of us is singing. So join the dance.
Hello again, Bakari Issa still. Now let's show our support for this beloved community. We invite you to give generously to the work of CSL Dallas, knowing that as you give, the law of circulation multiplies that gift and gives it back to you and so many others. Let's begin by affirming our abundance together. I am a magnet for God, always knowing that Spirit is my supply. I know that CSL Dallas is organized with renewed power, creative ability, and divine abundance. We are magnets for plentiful tides, gifts, and blessings. We share the good in our community and in the world. And so it is. There are many ways to give. Text giving, Venmo, PayPal, auto tithing, or use the basket being passed around. Pick which option works best for you. And just in case y'all forget, there are these connection cards over at the welcome table. As a manifestation of the infinite, it is your divine nature to thrive during our upcoming home study program group. We do a lot, guys. We'll explore what it means to experience thriving as a state of being. Usher a new chapter of abundance and prosperity into your life through Dr. Petra's weekly videos and workbook of contemplations, exercises, and deepening practices, all shared with a small group of like-minded folks from our community. This program runs from October 1st through November 5th, and each group meets once a week online or in person. Sign up to join a group at the welcome table at Pankey Hall or click the link being posted in the chat right now and get ready to thrive. We are 2 weeks away from the Artist Path with Ryan Brown. Tap into your inner creativity and discover a new path of self-expression during this meditative art experience, where guided meditation and multimedia art meet. All materials will be provided, and just bring yourself, a friend, and wear art-friendly attire. The Artist Path is on Saturday, October 7th from 7 to 9, and you can sign up at csldallas.org/events. Immediately after a Sunday celebration, you can receive a free spiritual support session with one of our licensed spiritual coaches. If you're on campus, head to the Peace Room. For those of you online, a link is being posted in the chat right now for you to join via Zoom. You can also fill out a spiritual support request form and place it in the wooden box at the alcove on your way to the Barone Lounge, or fill out the form in chat. And now let's close our time together with our amazing music team.